Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to the channel for a brand new video and another episode of In the Trenches, your one-stop shop for all things Call of Duty Challengers all the time. First of all, before we get into any part of the video, I do apologize for the poor lighting here. I'm at my parents' house for the weekend. I don't have the light for behind my camera, so not the best lighting. I'm sorry, we'll just have to work with it, but it's only going to be a one video thing, so we'll be all good after this. Anyway, we have some news to talk about today. This will probably be my last In the Trenches video where I focus on all the challengers news, or at least the roster fluctuations. I will talk about like GAs or events, stuff like that when it comes to news, but not so much the rosters because they change all the time. Like there's been so many changes, there's no way I can keep up with all of them. I try my best, but it's pretty much impossible because there's so many. But anyway, we're going to talk about some of the bigger roster moves today and then some other news, and that'll be it for the video. So if you enjoy the video and the update, let me know by leaving a like down below. I really would appreciate that. Leave a comment as well with your thoughts on what we discussed today, and also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more CD or COD challengers and CDL videos from me in the future. I love putting out content for you guys, and I hope you enjoy watching it. So I do really appreciate all of your support in these videos so very much. It really does help me out a lot. So thank you for that, and let's hop right into the video. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is actually GA news, not roster news, and I just think it's more important and more interesting, so we're going to start with that. So the EU challenger scene, they are like the first movers when it comes to GAs. It happened last year a lot, it's happening this year already as well so far, where when they GA something, it's usually like a week or two before it gets over to the NA side, but it usually always does make its way over here at some point. So hats off to them. Like I know last year when the XM4 was GA'd, they were the first to do that. They also GA'd the QBZ not too long after, and then it sort of leaked over to the NA. So these guys usually pretty well on top of things. They put out a list previously prior to this one, and the only addition since then has been the Gammon Bombs, but we're going to talk about everything. So first off, Frenzy and Vital, no surprise there. If you don't know, I think I have these straight. Frenzy is like an auto regen of your health every time you get a kill, so obviously very useful like in multi-kill situations, or if it's like a 1v2, you get the first kill, you regen, get the second guy, stuff like that. No surprise to see that gone. And then Vital, of course, definitely no surprise to see that gone. Basically what that does is it expands the region you can hit somebody to get a headshot multiplier, basically. So if you hit them maybe in the upper chest or even in the chest, you might get headshot damage for that. And then you also see a common theme is they're trying to take out all the damage stuff. Anything that increases the damage of the gun, pretty much they're trying to get rid of it. And I think it makes perfect sense. So any damage mag on any weapon, gone, that's great. The 189mm sub barrel also increases damage, that is out of there. Hollow point increases damage to the limbs, that's out of there. All of that is good stuff in my opinion. It's just the time to kill in this game is insanely fast. We've all seen that. I'm sure you've been frustrated a lot while you're playing Vanguard because you just seem like you die so fast. You have no time to react and you're dead. And all this stuff does is it makes that time to kill even faster. So not only is it a fast time to kill, it's also professional players who are very good at hitting their shots. And then you couple that with the fact that some of these attachments can, or proficiencies can make a gun kill in 2 shots. It's just way too fast. Like literally you can't even react to it. By the time you know what's happening, you're dead. I mean, we saw plenty of clips of the STG killing in 2 bullets during like the kickoff tournaments. The MP40 with damage mags is insane too. So it's good to see all that stuff out of there. There definitely needs to be some sort of way to slow down the time to kill. Obviously, the base time to kill probably is not going to change at this point, but at least we can remove some of these attachments, get them out of there, and we don't have to worry about these insane 2-shot kills, stuff like that. So that's good to see. Also, the recoil booster is gone, and then Gammon Bombs is interesting. I think it makes sense to GA them. I think they are probably a little overpowered. I mean, it's kind of like a Tomahawk that has an explosion. Like you throw it and it instantly explodes when it hits something. So that's definitely useful. Now, I will say it would be nice to see Semtex grenades in there because Gammon Bombs, they're really fast, so I understand why they're GA'd, but the flip side of that is frags are very slow, and it really can mess with your timing if you have to sit there and plan out your nade. You have to cook it. You kind of, the enemy team can time that basically, and they can pick off your gunfight while you're trying to time your grenade throw, and they hit you in their gunfight, and then obviously you never get your grenade off. So it's kind of like a no-win situation without Semtexes. It would be nice to have them in there, but for now it looks like it's just going to be frag grenades, and it's just interesting to me because, you know, we're used to seeing Semtexes, and we don't get to see that this time. But like I said, it makes sense to me because those Gammon Bombs, they can be very fast, and they can be a little bit overpowered. Now, I do wonder if we probably won't see as much Flak Jacket. It might just be Tac Mask or Ninja, because even though frags, they're strong, they also are not as useful and competitive because, like I said, they slow you down. So the Gammon Bombs very powerful, and you wanted to avoid dying to them, so you put on Flak Jacket. But with them gone and frags instead, teams might not be as willing to throw their frags, which I'm sure they'll still throw them. But also, they're just not as useful, in my opinion, as Gammon Bombs. So teams might say, forget that, forget about Flak, we'll use Tac Mask. Interesting, just wanted to point that out. It is definitely, you know, a domino effect possibility. And then finally, I did want to add here, it's not here yet, but on the NA side, I'm not sure if EU's doing it too, but on the NA side, they seem to be GAing smokes in respawns, which I guess makes sense. I mean, it's good that we have him in search. That's good, but I wouldn't mind seeing, at least maybe just one smoke per team in a respawn, but I guess we'll see how it works out. It's nothing official. They're just testing, not having it in there now. We will see if it gets added to the EU list or makes its way over to the NA list. For now, they are experimenting no smokes in respawns. We'll see where it goes from here. But I wanted to update you on these GAs because they're definitely very important. And like I said, the EU guys are always on top of things, so definitely do not be surprised if we see these GAs come over onto the North America side, before long. All right, now we'll get into the roster stuff very quickly. I mean, it might not be super quick, but we're not going to spend too much time on it because, like I said, it changes so freaking much. But anyway, one of the top AR duos and challengers, Casey Panda and GodRx, as I said in my last video, they were looking for a team. They found a team now. They will be teaming with Pentagram and Vicol. Vicol, I think this is at least his third roster he has been with. Might even be the fourth. It's been a lot for him. He's been bouncing around. I guess you can say that's a good thing for him because that means he's being highly sought after in his transition over from EU to NA, so that's a good thing for him and his career. But anyway, Panda, GodRx, and Pentagram obviously were part of the Built by Gamers team last year, who were one of the best North America Challengers teams over the course of the entire year. They were also coached by, I believe, is it Ronan or Ronan? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He coached them last year as well. He's coaching them again this year. Now, they're not Built by Gamers, of course. You see in the tweet they're looking for an organization. But regardless, that is definitely a very good team. There's probably at this point, 4 or 5-ish teams who I'd call like the true contenders right now, and I definitely would comfortably say that team is one of them. Panda was one of the best main ARs in Challengers last year. Pentagram was one of the best overall players in Challengers last year. GodRx was very good as well, too. Not as familiar with Vicol because he was not in NA last year, like I said, but certainly a high-quality squad with a lot of potential over there. Moving on to a not-so-high-potential roster, and I don't know why my messages keep popping up here. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, 6th gear, I guess that's just all they're called, 6G, I guess. Yeah, 6th gear. So I never heard of this org before. I only heard of 2 of these players before, but of course the big one here is Aqua. So Aqua, I kind of feel bad for him at this point because I am familiar with TCM a little bit. I'm not as familiar at all with Fame or Katani, if I'm saying that correctly, but I really didn't think Aqua was that bad in the CDL last year. I mean, he wasn't like a top player, but I thought he was potentially on the fringe to be able to be back in the CDL with a roster spot this year. Instead, he's in Challengers, and not even that, he's like on the lower end of Challengers. So that's unfortunate for him. I hope they have some success. I like Aqua a lot. I think, like I said, he performed better than he got credit for last year, but really looking at this team, I can't imagine them being one of the top Challengers teams, but who knows? You never know in Challengers. Stuff changes all the time. Team comes out of nowhere, so you don't want to roll anybody out, and having Aqua is certainly a good start for this team. We'll just see if they can get any sort of chemistry and put any sort of wins together. We'll just have to wait and see on that. Moving on to another potential, good team of 4, we have Classic, Assault, Shawnee, and Exceed. So the other half of the previous roster move we talked about when Vicol and Pentagram joined Panda and GodRx, that left Assault and Exceed with no teammates because they were supposed to be a team of 4. But they found, pretty good replacements in my opinion. Classic, it's not a huge surprise to not see him in the CDL this year, but he does offer a lot to a team in terms of, beyond just the slaying numbers or the stats he puts up. He's a winning-oriented player, if that makes sense. Like, he might not put up numbers, but he's going to help your team win. And this is a pretty good team. It's kind of full of players like that, honestly. Shawnee and Assault, same thing with them. They can still play winning Call of Duty, especially in the Challenger side of things. Say what you want about Classic, Assault, and Shawnee during their campaigns last year in the CDL. If you want to call them bottom-tier players, that's fine. But in Challengers, it's not going to be like that. They're going to be among the top players in Challengers, in my opinion. We'll have to wait and see for sure. And then Exceed, he spent time with the LA Guerrillas Academy team last year. He was probably going to be the flex on the previous team, but now with this team, he's definitely going to be a sub, of course, because Assault and Shawnee will be the ARs on this team, and then Classic and Exceed will be the SMG players. So we'll see how they go. I think that's a good team, though. Again, that's a potential fringe Challengers or fringe top-tier team. They might not be in the top tier, but they're not too far behind. So decent squad. We'll see where it goes from there. And then this squad, I actually didn't see it announced at all, but this is the best I can do for a tweet. Havoc playing with Kismet in some S&D tournaments, but I did find the spreadsheet that tracks the Challengers rosters, and according to that spreadsheet, these two, Havoc and Kismet, will be joining Brezzy and Jordan General to form a team of 4 for Challengers. So, doesn't really jump off the paper as a top-tier team, but that is a top-tier SMG duo, in my opinion, for Challengers. Kismet was among the best SMGs in Challengers last year with that Built by Gamers team, and Havoc, of course, was in the CDL last year, and when he was announced that he'd be leaving Florida, right away people were talking about what Challengers team is he going to end up on, because he should be among the top SMGs in Challengers. He still has a lot to offer in this game for sure, in my opinion. Very good search player, having a lot of success so far in some of these tournaments. So, while it might not be as high tier of a team as we thought for Havoc, it's at least a good SMG duo, and it's still a team that has a chance to do some wonders. Jordan General, at times, can be a very good player in Challengers, so that's not a team I would rule out. They're probably going to be very good at Search, I would think, and then we'll just have to see in respawns, but that is that nonetheless. And finally, the last thing on the NA side, we have Rated. Again, talked about it in my last video where he mentioned he wanted to play in Challengers this year. He just said he missed competing and he wanted to get back that competitive edge. I said, I'll probably stick to Warzone, as much money as he makes over there. Looks like he's going to be doing both, or at least he's going to be playing in Challengers. He says, I will be competing in Challengers this year. Whoever wants to win Challengers, drop your main AR. I'm a lot better. He said, I'm based in NA, by the way, Texas Fiber. So you got to think Rated's probably going to be a top Challengers AR. I don't see why not. He's been playing in a lot of these preseason, or not preseason, but these kickoff tournaments. He's been looking really sharp. And I mean, it makes sense. You know, he's a Warzone player, but he's been a Warzone player for, what, 1 year, 2 years tops? And before that, he was a COD competitor for 5, 6, however, 7, 8, however many years. So he certainly still has that competitive drive, and he certainly can still be a contributing player to a successful team. So I'm surprised we have not seen him on a team yet. If we have, I must have missed it. I did not see any announcement about it, so I will be on the lookout, because I think people will probably want to play with him in terms of the following he has and the success he's had over the course of his COD career. We'll see who he lines up, though. There's not many spots left, but as you know, in Challengers, nothing is ever final. I mean, these teams can change all the time. It would not surprise me if one of these top teams, they think, Rated's probably better than our main AR, and they drop him. You just never know. We got to wait and see, but Rated, I think, will be highly sought after for people to want to team with him. And then moving over to the EU side really quickly. Sorry, the tweets are not loading the best here. We have Real. He says, I'm happy to announce that I'll be playing with Lucky, Metals, and Journey. That was Team War last year. They were definitely the best Spanish team, in my opinion, and one of the best teams overall in the EU last year. Now, I put them here because they actually previously were a team of 4. It was those same 3 plus Invidian, and they teamed together a lot last year and actually had a lot of success. I think they actually won Stage 1 of the Challengers Elite over in EU last year, and they won a couple of cups as well. So you thought that team of 4 might be a good team to stick together, but they're going to go with Real instead. From what I've seen about Real, it's kind of seems like a move to me where they're trying to raise their ceiling, because he's a little bit more unknown. I think he's younger, but people seem very high on him. I don't know much about him, but it seems like he has a lot of upside, so that makes sense for a team who wants to be as good as possible. Take a little bit more risk, but with a potential higher reward. So that, in my opinion, from what I know, which again is not a ton, does not seem like a bad move. And then finally, the corresponding move from that, we have Eric Boom saying he'll be teaming with Maple, Bids, and Beans. So they're looking for an organization because it was Eric Boom, Maple, Bids, and Real. So they had to find a replacement for him, and it was Beans. So now that is a team of 4. Don't know where Invidian's going yet. Again, if that happened, I missed it. But some of these tweets are literally from within the past couple of hours. So like I said, this stuff moves all the time. It's just so hard to make a video on this stuff and get it all in there. But I think I did happen to time this pretty well. I got a lot of this stuff in there. And hopefully everything when you see this video is actually up to date, but who knows, this stuff can change all the time. But that is the landscape of the Challengers rosters as we currently know them. So that is going to do it for the video. If you enjoyed, let me know by leaving a like down below, and for sure leave a comment as well with your thoughts on everything we talked about in this video, and also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Challengers coverage from me in the future. I do appreciate all of your support in these videos. It really does mean a lot to me. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have a good day today, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.